February 9th, 2020.
And the Oscar goes to Parasite.
The day the cinematic world changed forever, when Parasite became the first foreign film to ever win Best Picture at the Oscars. It's hard to overstate the impact Korean cinema has had on our world. Contemporary Korean cinema hosts some of the greatest films and greatest directors in recent memory. Superstars such as Bong Joon-Ho, with films such as Parasite and Memories of Murder. Park Chan-Wook, a personal favourite with masterpieces such as Old Boy, Handmaiden, and Decision to Leave. But there is a third Korean director who I wish to talk about today, someone who receives much less recognition, but whose films are, in my opinion, easily in the same league of brilliance. This director is Lee Chang-Dong, a true master of cinema.
꿈 같은 것인 것 같아요.
Films are like dreams. They look like reality, but they are not. When we dream, we sometimes express desires that we do not usually show in real life. Those desires may even be fulfilled in our dreams. I think films have similar functions in people's lives.
Lee Chang-Dong has directed just 6 feature films over the course of his career. Originally, he was a writer before being encouraged to step into the director's chair at 43 years old for his debut film, Greenfish. After an 8-year hiatus mainly due to being blacklisted by the Korean government, Lee would go on to make his most well-known film to date, in 2018's Burning. A film I admittedly wasn't too keen on when I first saw it. However, upon re-watching it, I really appreciated its brilliance. The plot depicts a young delivery man, Jong-soo, who runs into his childhood friend, Haemi. They soon meet an enigmatic young man named Ben, whom Jong-soo becomes suspicious of and begins to believe Haemi is in danger. To truly appreciate Burning, we must first understand this pivotal early scene between Jong-soo and Haemi.
이건 재능으로 하는 게 아니야. 뭐냐면 여기 귤이 있다고 생각하지 말고 여기에 귤이 없다는 걸 잊어먹으면 돼. 그게 다야.
The pantomime requires us to perceive that which does not exist. Burning uses this to trick the viewer. It is incredibly easy to vilify Ben, but upon closer inspection, things aren't that simple. Ben is never witnessed committing any criminality within the film. Yes, his personality is somewhat cold, detached, and he is shrouded in mystery. But being tied almost exclusively to Jong-soo's perspective, it is impossible to say for certain whether Ben is guilty or not. As things increasingly escalate, the film ends on a cathartic note. Burning became the first Korean film to make it to the final 9 film shortlist at the Academy Awards, and received universal critical acclaim. However, as much as I love Burning, it is a bit of an outlier in Lee Chang-Dong's oeuvre. Lee describes his creative process of one of utter despair, and this is certainly apparent in his works. Lee's films are melodramatic, and it is incredibly evident that his films seek to invoke strong emotions from the viewer. His films do not shy away from the cruelty of our world. In fact, they wholeheartedly embrace this. His characters are broken, and their innocence is lost. They embark on a quest to try and fix themselves, to re-establish their own world in whatever way they can. One such example is 2007's Secret Sunshine, which follows Sine, a widow who returns with her son to the town where her dead husband was born. Secret Sunshine ranks as one of the most tragic films I have ever seen, and I have no shame in admitting that it made me cry. Its portrayal of grief is so honest. Its examination of faith and the allure it has for those of us who are most lost and most broken is portrayed in a very balanced way. To believe in God is deemed rational, but to believe in God and attempt to fight him is not. This conflict throughout makes for a truly fascinating film.
준이 어머니한테 우리 하나님 아버지 이야기를 듣게 되니 참말로 감사합니다.
Also strongly apparent within all of Lee's works is his commentary on social issues, which he always handles with tremendous sincerity. A perfect example here is 2002's Oasis, which is a love story of two people abandoned by their families. A young man released from prison visits the widow of the man he killed drunk driving. There he meets her daughter, who is wheelchair-bound with cerebral palsy. Both are marginalised by society, through no fault of their own. One is mentally impaired, and the other is physically impaired. They are both incredibly flawed characters. This is a very important film for me, as just as Lee Chang-Dong's older sister has cerebral palsy, so too does one of my little brothers. His is much more mild than Moon Suri's character in the film, but having watched the film together with him, he was thrilled with her representation. Seeing her character's desire to be normal, her desire to be loved like anyone else, was heartbreaking. I'm sure my brother has those thoughts sometimes, the desire to be normal. As a society, we often discriminate against these people, and they are largely seen as a burden. Yet, do they not deserve a life like everyone else? Even if their love is unconventional, do they not deserve to love? They are inflicted through no fault of their own. As able-bodied individuals, it is therefore our responsibility to care for these people, as we have the means to do so. Finally, moving on to my personal favourite film of Lee Chang-Dong's, 2010's Poetry. Mijat. An old woman is diagnosed with Alzheimer's disease, and she later learns about a crime committed by a family member. In order to deal with her stress, she decides to join a poetry class. Poetry is a truly profound work, which tackles a variety of themes and social issues. One of the aspects of poetry I find so compelling is its commentary on creativity, and more specifically the relationship between pain and art. When creating, pain is very much a double-edged sword. If you are too burdened by your troubles, you cannot function at all. But at a lower dose, pain can also be an incredible impetus for creation. The artist must accept and embrace this pain, this reality. Even though Mijat's words are lost through Alzheimer's, through pain, she manages to acquire a new voice by the end of the film, and to devastating effect. Agnes's song acts as the perfect finale to an unforgettable film.
이제 작별을 할 시간. 머물고 가는 바람처럼 그림자처럼.
Quite simply, Lee Chang-Dong is one of the finest directors working today. His sincerity and incredibly human stories has cemented him as one of my all-time favourite directors. For anyone unfamiliar with his works, I cannot recommend his films enough. With every film I have seen from him, I have learned and I have changed. You are never the same person after seeing a Lee Chang-Dong film.